Testimony more than 2 years in the making. Robert Mueller facing off against lawmakers for the very first time in back-to-back marathon public hearings. And the Republicans, for once, were very well prepared.
Welcome, everyone, to the last gasp of the Russia collusion conspiracy theory.
Can you give me an example other than Donald Trump where the Justice Department determined that an investigated person was not exonerated because their innocence was not conclusively determined?
I cannot, but this is a unique situation.
Well,
you hired a bunch of people that did not like the president. Peter Strzok hated Trump.
Okay.
You didn't know that before he was made part of your team.
You weren't interested in whether or not Russians were interfering through Christopher Steele, and if Steele was lying, then you should have charged him with lying like you charged a variety of other people, but you say nothing about this in your report.
You can charge all kinds of people who are around the president with false statements, but the guy who launches the guy who puts this whole story in motion, you can't charge him. I think that's amazing.
The special counsel answering, but in more cases dodging and stumbling over questions about the Russia witch hunt and his report.
Could you repeat that, ma'am? Can you repeat the last part of that question? Well, I'm not familiar with that. That Ken Starr did what? I'm sorry. I disagree with that. Can you repeat the question, sir? That went a little fast for me. And where are you reading from on that?
I'm reading from my question.
Then could you repeat it?
Okay.
All right, but 2 points made crystal clear early on. No collusion, and his investigation was never obstructed.
The investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its election interference activities.
At any time with the investigation, was your investigation curtailed or stopped or hindered?
No.
House Judiciary Committee members, Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida and Louie Gohmert of Texas, were there questioning Mueller, and they join me now. All right, Congressman, it's very clear that Mueller had no control over the investigation. He was asleep at the wheel, and it was run by Clinton donors and Clinton lawyers. So that means only one thing, that Donald Trump was framed by Team Clinton, and Donald Trump was investigated by Team Clinton, and Donald Trump won and came out on top, which just goes to show how crooked and ineffectual Hillary Clinton actually is, Congressman Gohmert.
Well, you put it so articulately, Jesse, as you always do. But, but now people should understand, you're right. He didn't have control, but he could have had control if he wanted it.
Right.
He chose intentionally to let Weissman just go wild, and all these other people struck while he was there. He let them go wild trying to frame the president for something that didn't happen. And that's why it's so offensive when, after all these years and thousands of witnesses and all that, he could not, he established clearly there was no conspiracy, because collusion is not a legal crime, but there was no conspiracy by the Trump campaign or anybody in Russia. So that's why it was such a big deal to me. Now you're turning around and trying to say he obstructed justice. He knew he was innocent. That's all he wanted. He wanted justice, because if justice occurred, he would be totally exonerated, totally acquitted, and justice was not happening under Mueller, Weissman, and their whole cabal.
Yeah, Congressman Gaetz, the American people are not going to go for impeaching a president who obstructed an investigation into a crime he didn't commit, or obstructed an investigation that the lead investigator said was never obstructed.
It's like phantom obstruction, Jesse. And if Robert Mueller wrote the Mueller report, then I wrote Moby Dick. Because the answer he gave most frequently was, not my purview, not my purview. Now, that didn't work so well for Robert Mueller. I'm going to see if it works for me this weekend when my girlfriend asks me to clean her cat's litter box. I'm just going to tell her it's not my purview.
Not my purview.
But here's what we don't understand. How is it
Mueller's purview to write 3,500 words about one Russian lawyer's meeting with the Trump campaign when that very same Russian lawyer met with DNC operatives the day before and the day after the meeting with the Trump campaign. This was obviously a setup, as you mentioned in your monologue, and the setup was driven by, I believe, elements of the Obama government, people like Brennan and Clapper, and that's why the work of the Attorney General right now is so important, because we are going to get to the bottom of this corrupt investigation.
Yeah, Fusion GPS President Glenn Simpson met twice, the day before and the day after the Trump Tower meeting with this Russian lawyer lady. And when Mueller was asked about Fusion GPS, watch what he said. Roll the tape.
When you talk about the firm that produced the Steele reporting, the name of the firm that produced that was Fusion GPS. Is that correct?
I'm not familiar with that.
It's not a trick question. It was Fusion GPS.
So I guess Democrat collusion with Russians, that's not in his purview either, Congressman Gohmert.
Yeah, well, the real collusion, the real conspiracy, obviously, the crime was between the Hillary Clinton campaign, the DNC, Fusion GPS, Christopher Steele, and Putin's underlings that were apparently providing the information to Christopher Steele. The Russians did affect the election, but fortunately, it was not enough to create enough division to keep Trump from winning. But their Russians' real goal was to create divisiveness in America, and by feeding the Hillary Clinton campaign foreign false information on Donald Trump, they really did a good job in helping divide America.
And the Democrats are still doing the Russians' dirty work because they continue to push this fake crime. Congressman Gaetz, right now, everything has failed when it comes to taking down the president, and these have all been cheap shots because this is not like traditional general election politics. It's all tried to short-circuit the democracy. You're talking about impeachment, exposés, lawsuits, leaks, setup jobs. I mean, this is really dirty stuff. And the president has been able to, maybe because he's used to fighting dirty in the streets all these years, but he's been able to survive this. And he's got to have the wind at his back at this point, because right now the Democrats are divided internally, and they have an incredibly weak presidential field. There's a hot economy, and we're not at war.
President Trump sure is good at winning, but one thing we've learned is that Democrats just don't know how to take the L. In 2016, when they lost the election, it couldn't be because they had a terrible candidate in Hillary Clinton. It couldn't be because Donald Trump worked them silly on the campaign trail, going to the Rust Belt, going with a campaign schedule that was far more aggressive than Hillary Clinton's. It had to be because the Russians had told people to vote for Donald Trump instead of Hillary Clinton, an absurd proposition. Look, in 2018, when Republicans lost the House, we didn't try to make Nancy Pelosi seem like an illegitimate speaker. We just disagree with her policies, and we're willing to have the debate. But this is what's going on with the radical left right now. They can't argue with us about economic policies or regulatory policies or energy policies. And so instead, they try to deplatform and defame and delegitimize anyone that's beating them out there in the public square. And frankly, in the 2020, that's why the president's going to win. He's focusing on the things that matter for the American people.
All right, Congressman Gohmert, Congressman Gaetz, thank you guys very much, and good luck with the litter box over the weekend.
Thank you very much.